Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how to solve quadratics by completing the square. Um, and I show you in class how to complete the square. So I'm going to break it down into steps. Step number one is the way you solve quadratic complete the square. Step number one is separate variables and constants. Number two is complete the square. And number three is solve the equation. So what I'm going to do is do the following. Step number one, separate variables and constants. I'm going to put a line right here. I'm going to separate them. Now where are the letters? Here's the letters. So most of them are on the left. So I'm going to have variables on the left. And what I'm going to have is constant on the right. Variable means letters. Who doesn't have a letter on the left hand side? Negative 21 doesn't have a letter. The opposite of negative 21 is positive 21. Wait to one side, you do it to the other, positive 21. Now, positive 21 and negative 21 are opposites, so they're going to cancel. So what I have is n squared minus 4n, leave some blank space right here, and that is 0 plus 21 will give you 21. And that's it. I'm done with step number one. Okay. If you're having a hard time in this class, what I recommend is do number one for all of them. Then come back and do number two and then do number three. And by the time you know it, you're done already. So that is step number one. Now number two is complete the square. Let me change the color. The way you complete the square, you do the following. I'm going to add a number here. And what mathematics says is weighted to one side, you must do it to the other side. So if I put plus 10 here, I need to put plus 10 over here. If I put in plus 11, 11 right here. Now the formula that I gave you in class is take the v value, you cut it in half, then you square it. That is how you find out what number I'm going to put in here. In my case, this is the v value. V value is negative 4. So I'm going to put in negative 4 divided by 2, and then you're going to square it. Negative 4 divided by 2 will give you negative 2, and then you square it. Negative 2 square will give you positive 4. Remember, negative 2 square, what that means is negative 2 times negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 2 will give you 4. So the number that I was looking for is, I was looking for, I'm sorry, I don't need the plus. The number I was looking for is 4. That's what I was looking for. Then when you do it to one side, you do it to the other side. Okay? Now, if you complete the square, there's only one number that would allow you to write this as a binomial square. Write this trinomial as a binomial square is equal to one number. So now this, the first one tells you the letter. There's n in here, n squared, so this should be n. And what you're saying is n squared will give you n squared. Now, this one tells you the sign. If it were positive, I will put a plus right here. If he were negative, I'll put in a negative in here. Now, because in this case it is negative, this should be negative. Now, the way you find the number is, the question is, what number can I square to give me 4? One number square will give you 4, and the answer is 2. And 21 plus 4 will give you 25. And that's it. You complete the square already. Step number 3 is solve the resulting equation. Okay, so I need to take this and I need to solve the equation. Okay, so the way you're gonna do this is the following. Let me choose the color. What I'm gonna do is I have a minus 2 and square. Who do I get rid of first? You should get rid of the square first. Now, to do this, you do the opposite. The opposite of plus will be negative, and the opposite of negative will be plus. Okay. Now in mathematics, everything that is opposite cancels. That's why the negative 21 and 21 cancel each other out, because they were opposites. So very, very important that you understand the opposites. If I give you multiplication, the opposite of multiplication will be division, and the opposite of division will be multiplication. They're opposites. Now, what you don't know is the following. if I give you a number square, the opposite of square will be square of that number. Now, the opposite of square root will be square. They're opposites. And like everything else, is their opposites, they're going to cancel out. So I need to get rid of the square. I need to cancel the square. And to cancel, you do the opposite. The opposite of 2 square is square root. Now, the rule in mathematics says what you do to one side, you must do it to the other side. Now, these will cancel because they're opposites. So all you have left over is parentheses n minus 2. But I don't need the parentheses anymore because I'm not squaring. So all you need is n minus 2 is equal to square root of 25. Remember, use your times tables. Square root of 25. Look for 25 in here. Look for 25 somewhere in here. And these numbers. And 25 will be right here. So the square root of 25 looks straight up. The answer will be 5. So the answer is 5. So the square root of 25 is 5. So square root of 25, I'm going to put in plus or minus 5. That is the answer. Okay. Now, get rid of the minus 2. The opposite of minus 2 is plus 2. Weighted to one side, you must do it to the other side. This cancels. And all you have is n is equal to. Now, the way you do this is you do the following. We can do most of this work in our head. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a box. This would allow me to hide the one of the signs. So my focus is I'm going to pick one of the signs, and that's what I'm going to focus on. So let me give an example. Doesn't matter which one you cover first. Let's cover the negative. If I have positive 5 plus 2, the answer would be positive 7. So the answer is 7. Okay, if that's a problem, the answer would be 7. Now, cover the positive sign. Negative 5 plus 2 will give you negative 3. So my answer is negative 3. And that's it. That is your answer. That is your problem. Okay, but this is an easy example. Let me do a more complicated example. Let me do example number 2. And I'm going to follow the same steps. The steps are the same. The math is more complicated, more involved, but the steps are the same. So number 1 is separate variables and constants. So the way you're going to do it is the following. You're going to put a line, and the line is where you're separating them. Okay, so let me pick a color. This color. So I'm going to put a line right here. Okay. And most of the letters, they're on the left side. So on the left side, I want variables. And on the right hand side, I want constants. And I want to separate them. On the left, I was looking for variables. All of these have a letter. Variables means the letters. All of these have a letter except for negative 69. So the way you get rid of it is plus 69. And what you do to one side, you do to the other. Plus 69. Now these are opposites. They will cancel. So your answer would be 6x squared minus 12x. Leave it blank in here. And negative 69, I'm sorry, 69 minus 7 will give you 62. Okay. Now, I'm going to do step number 2. Let me copy number 2. Number 2 is complete square. So what I'm going to do, hold on, let me change the color. What I'm going to do is the following. I'm going to add a number here. And the rule says when you add a number, what you add to one side, you must do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so the way you're going to do it is the following. What's making things very complicated for us is this positive 6. Okay, that's what makes it complicated. If you look at this problem and look at the problem before that I did before, there was no number here. Okay, so because there was no number here, it was straightforward. Now, this problem, there is a 6 in front of the square. So you don't have to get rid of these 6. The way you get rid of it is the following. What you're going to do is do the following. Take the 6. I'm going to factor it out. What I'm saying, these ones have a 6 in common. So what I'm going to say is these ones have a 6 in common, have a 6, and have a 6 in common. So the way you do it is, what goes inside of here is the following. 6 multiplied by something will give me 6x squared. 6 multiplied by something, the answer will give me 6x squared. So what's missing here? What is here? So the thing you're missing is the x squared. You have x squared in here. Now 6 multiplied by something will give me negative 12x. 6 multiplied by something will give me 12x squared. So what you're missing is negative 2x. 6 times negative 2x will give me negative 12x. Now plus blank. Now, to complete the square, I'm going to take the v value. I'm going to cut it in half, and I'm going to square it. In this case, the v value is minus 2. So you're going to have negative 2 divided by 2, and then I'm going to square it. Negative 2 divided by 2 will give you negative 1, and negative 1 squared will give you the 1. So the number that I was missing here is 1. Now, do not put a 1 in here. It's not a 1. Some of you might be saying, but wait a minute, Mr. Rios, you added a plus 1. This should be a plus 1. I'm not adding a 1, and let me tell you why. If you use the distributive property right here, everything inside should be multiplied by 6. So this should be 6x squared. If you multiply this, you're going to get negative 12x. Now, what is 6 multiplied by 1? 6 times 1 gives you 6. So I'm actually adding the 6. I'm not adding a 1. So this should be a 6. So multiply this number times the outside number, and that's the number you're adding. I added 6 to the left side, so I should add 6 to the right side. Okay? Now, that is the only difference. So whatever number you have to factor it out, take it out. Now, what I'm going to have that allows me to do 6 times a binomial square is equal to something. My job is to find out what I should put inside the x, inside the parentheses. So this tells me the letter. That's an x squared, so they should have an x here. If I square the x, I'm going to get x squared. Now, this tells me the sign. All I care is about the sign. I don't care about the number. The sign is minus, so this should be negative, minus. Now, what number square will give you 1? The number square that will give you 1 will be 1. And what is 62 plus 6 will give you 68. And that's it. You complete the square. Okay? So please be very, very careful. If there is a number in here, you must factor it out, take it out, and then do the same process. And the part where you have to be careful is I'm not adding a 1. I'm actually adding a 1 times 6, which is 6. 6. Okay? Now, step number 3 will be the following. Number 3 is I need to solve the equation. So step number 3 is solve the equation. The equation I have, I need to solve it. Now, you have to be careful. I need to get rid of 6. I need to get rid of negative 1, and I need to get rid of 2. Okay. Well, if the 6 was in here, this problem would be like the one that I did earlier before. Okay. So you have to get rid of 6. Now, the way you get rid of 6 is you do the following. This is 6 times all of this. The opposite of times is division. So I'm going to divide by 6. Now, what you do to one side, you must do it to the other side. Divide by 6. So these will cancel. So all you have is parentheses x minus 1 square is equal. Now what is 68 divided by 6? Use your times tables and follow the times tables of 6 and see if you find 68 anywhere in here. Nope, it doesn't go evenly. So if it doesn't go evenly, leave it that way. Leave it as 68 over 6. So what I'm going to write here is 68 divided by 6. Because remember, I don't want decimals. So I don't want you to give me a decimal or a fraction. Leave it that way. Okay, I don't want a decimal. Now, this problem is similar to what I did right here. First, I need to get rid of the square. And the way you get rid of the square is do the opposite square. The opposite square is square root. And the rule says what you do to one side, you must do it to the other side. These are opposites. The square and the square root are opposites because they're opposites, they cancel. I don't need the parentheses anymore because I'm not squaring it. So all you have is x minus 1 is equal square root of 68. Do you see 68 anywhere in here? 68 will be right here. No, I don't see it. Do you see 6 anywhere in here? If it would have to be here, but there's no 60 or 6. Okay, so that means I don't know the square root, so I'm gonna leave it as plus or minus square root of 68. I cannot simplify that. If I had a calculator, I cannot simplify that. So the answer would be 68 divided by 6. Now, last step, get rid of the negative 1. The way you get rid of the negative 1 is plus 1. What you did to one side, you did to the other. Now, these will cancel. And you're going to have x is equal to, can I combine these two? In order to combine them, they need to have the same radical. This has a radical, but this doesn't have a radical. So cannot combine them. So the answer is plus or minus square root of 68 divided by 6 plus 1. And that is my answer. Okay. If the radical does not disappear, that's it. That's all you can do. That's all you can do. Okay. If you're gonna get past this step, you have to use a calculator, which will give you a decimal answer. And I don't want you to use the decimal because if you give me the answer in decimal, I'm assuming you're using a calculator, and I don't want you to use a calculator. I want you to solve the problem, do most of the work. Okay. So as you can see, if you have a number on the outside, if you have an a number other than 1, you have to factor it out. Okay. But other than that, it's exactly the same. If you have a hard time understanding what I'm doing, watch the video over and over and over again till you really, really understand. Or if just rewind the part that you didn't understand. Okay, that's it, and watch for more videos. Thank you.